So hey everybody, I'm Laura Mignott, CEO of the experience agency D Flash and the host of the Reset podcast. So excited to have a great conversation with Dr. J. Kumar.
So what we're experiencing right now is centuries of racialized trauma, and the wounds that have occurred from that are now being forced to be healed. And it's not just a certain segment of society, it's all of us together are in this healing process. So it's why, how do we help, how do we heal? This conversation is so crucial.
Well, I think it's so important because I think, for a lot of Black people, like understanding what racial trauma is something that is endemic to us. But I think for a lot of, non-Black people, they're like, wait, what do you mean generational trauma? And how do you sort of encapsulate that? And so it's all coming to the fore now because we've had everything sort of forced into front of our faces. I think part of the reason why, we're at this very unique moment right now is that we all collectively saw something in horror, and it wasn't like something that you could walk away from.
Your brain, my brain, cannot really distinguish the difference between physical pain, like breaking a bone, or what we call social pain or emotional pain, feeling marginalized, feeling a broken bond. So I say in my book, Science of a Happy Brain, this whole idea is that a broken bone is just as painful as feeling a broken bond. And so what we need, I think what we fundamentally as humans, I think strive for is the need for value, belonging, and the need for connection.
That wound is just so painful and so hard for people to kind of get through. I think, for a lot of folks where it's been hard to sleep recently because like there's been so much of this upheaval and, sort of this weird fear that I think it's weird. I think it's obviously, I call it kind of the toxic soup where we had a pandemic, 40 people lose their jobs, and then sort of the annual spring summer where a Black man gets killed on video. But that all happened within a matter of 6 weeks. Not only did one Black man, there was Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and then George Floyd. All of these elements came together in a matter of 6 to 8 weeks on top of all the other things that were already stressing everyone. And you essentially get to this point where like this wound now feels so painful. I don't think a lot of folks can figure out how to get through it. And so how does one even begin to heal and feel like, they're coming out of it? And what can others do to help them?
We're all grieving, and there's a deep, profound sense of grief and trauma. So comfort can also mean, as you begin to voice your opinions and you begin to express your voice of concern or, just being heard, please be sure to take care of yourself. Do things that bring you comfort as well. So make sure you get enough rest, enough sleep, and, really begin to ensure that others who are also suffering experience that sense of comfort as well. Contribution is the second C. This idea is that all of us play a small part. Not everyone can go out into the streets and protest, but we all can voice it's almost like the river flows in many ways, and the river doesn't just flow in one way, but the river always leads to some point. So you can hop into the river anytime you want, anywhere you want. You can swim in it, you can ride in a raft, you can paddleboard in it, whatever you want. But so for some of us, even just doing this is a form of contribution. Even, the work that I do at Chapman University at the Fish Interfaith Center with my fellow chaplains and colleagues, it's providing spiritual care. This idea of like where we see you. So contribution can be just something as simple as knowing that others are being seen and heard and valued for who they are. And your contribution can be something as you're showing a sign of support, holding a sign or being on the streets or writing a piece or doing something, a Facebook Live event like this, or just calling someone that might be struggling during this time, or someone who has experienced this whole racial trauma, this racialized trauma, for generations. The third is connection, what we're doing here. What I find so beautiful about what I see on TV or on the media it's not just, Black people, African Americans, people one racial, segment of society who are protesting. It's everyone.
We have an opportunity for to have meaningful and lasting change because we all are connecting to each other in at our sort of deepest, most authentic way. And I think because, again, like what I was talking about, that kind of toxic soup that all happened at the exact same time, where the ability for people to be more vulnerable and be more empathetic, and also to be able to look inward. I think this doesn't, because also remember, these protests don't happen unless there's lockdowns, which means people can't go to work. So they're home. You have college students who would be at college right now. You have high school students who would be at high school, can't go to high school. So, all of these sort of dominoes kind of had to fall into place at this particular juncture to allow people to connect with each other. Because, what's happening when you see these protests, and I've seen with lots of my friends, is not just that folks are getting together and like, oh, nice to meet you at the protest. But like, hey, what are you working on? How can we build together? Because that's actually how we actually will actually heal this moving forward. That like the energy and the action and the stick-to-itiveness that comes from the protest now gets put into action. And the companies who are making those statements and then listening to their employees of color and saying, what is it you need us to do? But actually fully making those actions going forward are going to be the things that happen. Because now, if you're that Black employee who never talks to that senior person in your company, but now they sent you a note being like, hey, like, you have an opportunity for connection. And we all know that the whole point about the power of connection is that when you are top of mind, when you engage with someone with a degree of good, positive energy, that's when the magic happens. That's when the real lasting change happens. That's when, like, oh, I know you're doing this. I'm doing this. We should work together. Or you're doing this. I know someone who's doing exactly the same thing. I should connect you. Let me get out of the way. Like, that's what can happen right now. And hopefully, as a result of this, it puts us on a really incredible path forward that if and when the pendulum does swing the other way, we've built up so much resistance that just gets stopped. Also, we hope this is giving you an opportunity to listen, to learn something new, like placism, and hopefully find some meaningful actions that will help you along the way in this really unique time. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks to genconnectU, and thanks for everyone.